Today's daf is daf Mem Gimel. Way ahead, and we're up to Mem Beis on the bottom, towards the bottom of the page. The two dots, about 10 lines on the bottom of the page. Start about me learned. Says the pasuk, "Behemish isha isha." If an animal killed a man or a woman, Amar Rabbi Kiva says, "Why you have to spell out a man or a woman? Im l'chayv al isha kisha. Tell me that you're liable for a woman just like you're liable for a man. Hadikvar nemar. The opening pasuk says, "Ki yigach shoyt es ish or yes isha." It already points out that if the animal gored a male or a female. Ella, the reason is lahakish ishali tell you that a woman has the same name like a man. In which way? Regarding the heirs. Ma'ish, the zok of the yoshev, the person dies, the victim, let's say afterwards dies. What happens to the money? It goes to the inheritance to his children, or to his yoshim. Afisha nizakel liyosheha, for woman after she was damaged and you owe her money, and or you killed her. What happens to the proceeds? The proceeds go to her yoshim, not the husband. Says the Gemara, holds the husband doesn't yashin. But Tanya, we learned the yorash oisa, the husband yashes the wife. Mekansha baal yoidashes ishta, that a man yashes his wife. Rabbi Akiva. Well, the machlekes in Yashnechim we talk about this, whether it's mahatoidim or Rabbana, that the husband yashes his wife. So the why should go pass on to her children? You're right. Everything else goes back to the husband except kaifer. Kaifer is if the animal kills the person, then you pay a kaifer. Only then do we say, and the animals are muad. When does it kick in the charge of kaifer? Only after the victim dies. Kozman, the victim's alive, there's no chiv of kaifer yet. So since the chiv doesn't begin until the woman is dead, the husband has no rights anymore. The yoshim of the woman. Or if she has no children, then her siblings or whatever. Parents. Later, we had by Abchor gets a double portion only what the father actually owns, not what is owed to the father, not what is potential. So I mean, there's a potential at the time when she dies. There's no kafir established yet. The husband has no rights to that. My time, and what's the reason? How do I know that the kafir doesn't kick in? Maybe as soon as you know the person will die, there's already a chiyuv of compensation. The hamis isha, that you kill a man or woman. The hashar you suckle, that the shur gets stoned. The gam habayl of yumas. That's when you set up the kaifer. So we see clearly when the kaifer set in, only after the woman dies and the animal is charged with skila. Says the Gemara, and we know that the shur does not get killed unless the person actually dies. Over in Ezekiel law, you tell me only when it comes to kaifer it passes on to her yoshim, and not when it comes to other kinds of damages. Rabbi Kiva doesn't say that, but Tanya we learned whatever man, if somebody hits a woman. And then, as a result of that, she loses her child, unborn baby. For the damages you pay her. What happens to the money you owe for the little babies? You give that to the husband. Ain't about the husband died. Then you give it to the heirs of the husband. Ain't isha, the woman is not around to receive the nezek and tsar because she died. You give it to her yoshim. You see clearly from here that even though we're talking about nezikin, we're not talking about kaifer. Talking about nezek, tsar, you wounded her later. She died for something else, another cause. Yeah, different reason altogether. And yet, what happens to the money for the nezek and the tsar?
I don't know when to ask. I want to ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if the owner of the ox is meant to be killed also, so two things. No. Who's there?
The owner of the ox doesn't get killed. It says the pasuk says that yumas, but it means that he loses his cow and he has to pay, but he doesn't physically get killed if his possession caused damage. It's just we learn laws from that. That just like whatever happens to just like a person does not get killed unless there were two witnesses, the cow will not get stoned unless there were two witnesses. We learn how a lot. We don't kill the owner for his cow's damage.
Right. Okay. So no question then. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. But at worst, it can be manslaughter, which is we don't have manslaughter. Okay, says the Gemara. So when it comes to damages, it says clearly here if the woman died as a result of some other accident later on, all the money, the proceeds go to her children. So we see it's not just a question of the kay for that redemption money, but other things also get passed on to the children. Then it says further. So Aina, each of the women is no longer around. The senator should give it to her children. Let's say she was a maid and she became, she was set free, and then she fell pregnant and so on with living with somebody else. Or if she was a convert, in other words, she has no family. She has no family, or a convert. Then Zacha, whoever caused the damage, to keep the money because he was the first one there on the scene. So l'chayda, you're telling me that the only kaifer exception goes to the children. L'chayda, other things as well. Rabba says Rabba begrusha. We're talking about here that she was a divorcee. That's why it doesn't pass on to the husband because they're no longer married, so it goes to her heirs. Shamnach begrusha is a divorcee. Ambri says the Gemara, if she's divorced, then how come when it comes to the money of the children of her child, unborn child, it goes to the husband? Why shouldn't she get half then? Kolman, she's married, I understand. The pasuk says give it to the Baal Isha. But if she's no longer Baal Isha, no longer married, then why doesn't she share with the expense, the proceeds with her husband? The Torah says if for whatever reason, when it comes to the unborn child, the money goes to the husband, even when they're divorced. I feel about lebesnus, even if it wasn't even the husband, even if the child born out of wedlock, if she was hurt and the child was lost, the money goes to the husband. My time of why? Omakra, it says in Pasuk, Kasha Yoshi's Olav Baal Isha, and Baal, we're not going to translate as Baal as a husband, but rather Boy Isha, whoever is the one who caused her to have a child, who related with a woman, had related with a woman, that's the one who gets the proceeds. So even if she's divorced, it goes to them. Says the Gemara. The nukme, why don't we establish Rabba? Why don't we say according to Rabba, Kigoin, Shigovu Mois? Why do they need to tell us? We just said that they say Rabba and Nachman both talking about the case of the divorcee. You know why the money passed on to children? Because she's a divorcee. Why don't we say no, she's not a divorcee? And yet why does it go to the children? Whereas a machlekes Rabba and Rab Nachman, that what's the definition of row? If somebody owes money to the father before he died, Bechor is not entitled to anything which is only potential. If that person, the borrower, pays back with property, or that person, the borrower, pays back with the money, the machlek is which one of them is considered as if it's realized already. One of them says, that maybe property is as if, since the shibud was a lien on the property while the father was alive, it's as if they already collected the property while the father was alive. And therefore, exactly, some along those lines, even though it's very shaman. So therefore, it's no longer ra'u, that's muhzik. And therefore, the child, the tchai is entitled to two. According to Nachman, no, the property is a new payment you just made right now. But rather, if there's paid money, I lent you money, and you had a chiyah to pay him back money, and you gave him back the money, as if always it's muhzik. So why don't we just answer the woman didn't divorce, but it didn't divorce, but either the mazik paid with property or the mazik paid with money, and therefore it's as if the woman already received it while she was alive, and that's why the husband takes it, not the children. Why don't we just say that? So Rabbi going to go why don't you say that you collected money and because he said that's like muhzik, as if he collected already when she was alive, and that's why the husband yashes. Or not, you should go with karka. They paid the mazi, paid the property. Rabba go with karka yeshloi. That we collected the karka, then the b'char gets a double portion because as if he already collected. Go with mois but money is something new, and therefore there's only potential. The b'char does not get double portion. And not the other way around. Go with mois yeshloi. We collected money, yes, yeshloi. It's as if they received it. Go with karka yeshloi. Says, why don't we just answer that? Why have to say she's divorced? Says, hani mili. And because they have to come up with the whole chiddush that we said before that you don't split the money of the money of the veladis. Just say simply, Amri hani mili b'nei marava liba derabanan. That only follows according to the people in Israel that according to Rabbanan that believe that any improvement, natural improvement, is also considered row. Follow Rebbe. Rebbe holds. When do we say that's considered row? If you worked at it to improve it, but if it's something that happens automatic, like interest or something that happens automatic, that is not considered row at all. It's as if it's muchazik already. So now we want to know. So how come the husband doesn't yarshin? Why is it going? And no, it's a natural improvement, as if it's always integral part of the item, and so therefore the husband should be the one yashing. Why does it say the children? Must be because they're divorced. Okay, now the Gemara says a number of dinim. So we talked about the penalty of $30 you pay for cow kills an eved, and we talked about the penalty to kaifer if the cow kills a person, and you have to pay by muad. You have to pay the kaifer as well as the animal gets killed. So now the question is, what happens if the animal committed this crime, or what do you want to call a crime, unintentionally? Unintentionally, do you still pay kaifer for by a person if you kill the person because the animal had no intention? For example, it's trying to kill somebody else,
it's just walking on its way,
or it's trying to kill a behemoth and kill the person by mistake, as we'll see in the next Mishnah. So it's unintentional. What happens? By people who have a machlekes. If you wanted to kill one person, you killed another person. What happens? Shimon and others. So the Shlaki says, it was unintentional when he killed the Ebed. You don't pay the penalty. It has to be intentional, not if it's unintentional. Shenema, because said the pasuk, Kesef Shloishim Shkolim Yidladani, you should pay the $30 to the master. The Hashay Yisakol, and the Shay gets stoned. So we see clearly from here, it's like a stipulation, it's continued. When do we say you pay the penalty if the animal gets killed? And when does the animal get killed? Everyone agrees the animal gets killed only if it's intentional. If it's unintentional, you don't kill the animal. Cold match Hashay B'Skila, by the Mashal Shloishim Shkolim. The Shay will get killed, then you pay the $30. And if it's killed, by the Mashal Shloishim Shkolim, but if the Shay doesn't get killed, you don't pay it. Amar Rabba. So Rabba, following that line of reasoning, goes one step further. If a shoy killed an ordinary person, you pay kafir. Shaloi bekavan was unintentional. Potter b'kafir, you also potter from kafir. Just like you potter from the Ebed 30, just like you said, you potter from kafir by an ordinary person. And how do I know that? Remember, because the pasuk there says, "Hashoy Yisakol." What do you do if he killed? Let's say that he killed. The shoy should be stoned, and then it says the gam bail of human, the owner should be killed. But we said before, it doesn't mean the owner literally gets killed. It means that we equate the laws of killing the animal to the laws of killing a person. You need two witnesses and other things. And im kafir has to be intentional. Im kafir yushis olav, and then you set the kafir down. So we dash in the same way, like it's lucky you dash before. If the shoy get killed, you pay the kafir. If the shoy isn't killed, you don't pay kafir. Abai said to Rabba, of course you can't let him go. I have a question for you. It says if a guy comes into court and he confesses, "Hey, Miss Shady as plainly, my cow." We'll have the Gemara Sanhedrin the whole discussion. My cow killed someone. A Shady shall plainly, or my cow killed the other person's cow. He admitted it. He has to pay. Now, what's he paying when he says my cow killed a person? What do you pay when you kill a person? The only thing you pay is kafir. My lav kafir. So we see clearly from here. Now, will the animal get stoned if a man comes in and says, "My cow killed"? Will you stone the animal? No, because it says the owner shouldn't be killed. What happens if a guy comes to the court and confesses, "I'm a murderer"? Is the bezin going to kill him? No. So the same thing. If a man says, "My animal, killed somebody," even if it's the third time, fourth time, we're not going to kill the animal.
You won't pay the knas either.
Oh, there's no knas. There's no knas there. The only payment you make for your animal is if it kills somebody. Is you kill the animal and you pay kafir. And it says that you pay. So obviously, what are you paying kafir? You, Rabbi, just said that we don't stone the animal. You don't pay kafir. Clearly, here, if he admitted it, you will stone the animal. Sorry, you won't stone the animal, and yet he's paying kafir. So the Rabbi comes along and introduces a new concept. No, dummy. When you don't pay kafir, you still pay, but we don't call it kafir. It's not a kapar anymore. Now you pay for the actual damage because it's like nezik. Oh, just a dummy. But why should it be worse than a normal nezik? You hurt somebody, you have to pay. So you kill somebody. There's also damage. Obviously, there's a lot of damage because this person was the provider for the family, and now whatever it is, you have to pay. So the Rishonim really want to know what's the difference what label you give kafir for dummy. Is it the same thing? So what did Abba tell you? You don't pay kafir, but you pay dummy. A lot of nafkaminas.
Well, if you say kufr kapara, then that's a big difference.
Okay, one is that's in theory, but in practice, halacha. One difference is if you're paying kafir, then the victim has no right to be mochel. He can't say, "Oh, don't worry, I pardon you. You don't have to pay me." Because kafir is a kapara. I need to pay that kafir in order to get my kapara. But if it's dummy, purely a hezek, the guy can be what do you call it? Can be mochel. Another difference is kafir. We had a machlekes Rabbi Kima Mishmo. What one opinion is that you pay according to the value of the mazik. Whatever the value of the mazik is, that's what you pay. But if it's damim, you pay the value of the nizik. So that's one of some of the differences.
If you're getting run over, you get run over by a Rolls Royce. If it's
well, another, exactly. Okay. So further, so it comes out interesting. Sometimes damim is more chamor than kafir. Telling about it further. Okay, damim Sabai is not happy yet. If it's damim, aim safe. Let's continue. Hey, Mishaydi is avda shalplani. If my share killed the evid of that person, and normally you pay $30. Now again, we're not going to kill your animal. Ain't the mishalapasa. You don't pay the $30. Like the Shlaka said before. If you don't get stoned, you don't pay. But damim. If you tell me damim, am I like? Why shouldn't he pay the dam? Okay, you don't pay the $30 knas, but pay the value of the evid that you just destroyed. The Gemara. So into what Rabbi says, Rabbi said to him, I can answer you a very simple answer. Reisha damim, the Reisha in the first part we talk about killing a person, we're focusing on the damim, so you have to pay. And Sefer Knas, in the Sefer when it says you are potter, means you're exempt from paying the penalty, but you still have to pay the money. What are we talking about? I am not going to waste your time. You're too smart for that. For me to give you a very it's a very strange answer. It's not a good answer. Like every time we give Every time you get more, these are two Tanaim according to Rabbi Yehuda. That's like an answer when you have no other answer. So he said, I'll give you a better answer. Either be the dumb, again, answer is worthy for you. They're both talking about dummy. So how come by a ben chayin if you still pay dummy? Why by never you don't pay dummy? He says as follows: by a ben chayin the mishalim kaifer al piatzmai. By a ben chayin, I'll give you a circumstance. No, as an ordinary person, if the animal killed, I'll give you a circumstance where you have to pay kaifer even though the animal will get stoned. I'll show you in a minute. Therefore, in this case here, even though the animal doesn't get stoned because it's unintentional, you still pay the value, money. Where do you find kaifer? Where do you find kaifer if the animal doesn't get stoned? Sorry, where do you find kaifer? Going, sorry, not the animal getting stoned. You find kaifer where I'm the one who's murder and I'm bringing kaifer upon myself. So therefore, since I can bring kaifer, I can also bring dummy. We're going to prove that by an eved, you never bring the knas by being murder. Therefore, you cannot bring dummy. What's the story? For example, Yossi Sadi came along with we tell you that your animals killed somebody. There were two witnesses. So what happens? The animal gets killed. We don't care if the animal is time removed, you will get killed. But when do you pay kaifer? When do you pay kaifer? Only the animal committed it 3 times and the animal killed. But the agents say, we don't know the status of this animal. We don't know if it's a time removed. All we know is an animal killed. We don't know what it is. But the owner says, you know what? I'll tell you the truth. The mudu. So the Mishal kaifer. So here's an example. The agents say the animal will get killed. It's the owner who admits that the animal is a muad, and therefore he pays kaifer. So who brought the kaifer on himself? Just the owner himself, because the agent don't know if the animal's a tam or a muad. So one second, but we'll see. But by Evid that doesn't work either. Exactly. So and yet he can now, as a result of that, he has to pay money, kaifer. So therefore, we see that a person can bring kaifer upon themselves. So therefore, if his animal killed unintentionally, even though the animal doesn't get killed, you pay money as well. If there's no witness at all, so the animal gets mishalom dummy. But by an evid, there is no instance by an evid that you pay the $30 through your own admission. Because even if you're murder, that your animals say move and but what's it then by knas? Potter. So there's no instance where you can ever bring kaifer upon yourself. Come along and say by never they killed we don't know if it's a tamar move because by mood you have to pay the $30. They don't know. Well, when he said, look, I'm made it to mood, right? So I should pay $30. We don't. It's a knas, and you don't pay. So therefore, since you can never bring kaifer upon yourself, nor can you bring dummy. Therefore, even when there are no witnesses, you don't pay dummy. Most of Abaye seems to be happy, but Ashmul Vayischa was not so happy. He said, it says in the Braisa, if you're chayiv by an ordinary person, chayiv be'eved, you're chayiv by an eved. It says clearly here, whenever you're chayiv, any example you give me, you're chayiv if your animal kills an ordinary person, you're chayiv when your animal kills an eved. Bein be'kaifer, whether it talks about kaifer, bein be'misa, whether it's misa. Now, where's the kaifer by an eved? The only thing you pay by an eved is that $30 knas. Must be talking about damim, but you don't pay knas when you're made. Must be talking about money. And it says, whoever you chayiv ben chayrin money, you chayiv by never. That means by a ben chayrin, if you kill the animal, if you kill the person unintentionally, you pay kaifer, you pay damim. Sorry, not kaifer, you pay damim. So in ever also, if the animal killed unintentionally, you should be paying damim. Kasha Rabba. He asked the question, he himself answered it. Or Rabba said, you misunderstood the Braisa. The Braisa is not talking about a case where it was unintentional. Then you're asking me a question, oh, we see you pay dummy by an Evid. No. I already explained to you by an Evid, you don't pay dummy. If there's no skila, there's no kavanah, you don't pay. But if there was kavanah, and by ben chayrin you pay alpi edim, you pay kaifer, is chayiv be'eved knas. By an eved, the same situation, you'd be paying that $30 penalty. But where was loibe kavanah? And that's a stress of the rights to the inference. But if it was unintentional, yet by a ben chayrin, okay, you don't pay kaifer, but you still pay the damage that you did, the dummy. Is chayiv be'eved shloibe kavanah alpi edim damim. If there were witnesses, not that the Baal Boss was murdered, if there were witnesses that says that your animal killed an Eved, then you pay the dummy. But if the guy comes forward himself and says, my animal, whatever it is, and so there's no skill on the animal, You won't pay damim. But by a person, if he says, my animal killed a person, then even though we don't kill the animal, you still have to pay damim. The Bryce is talking about a case where the Adam came forward and said your animal killed. But since it's Leiba Kavana, we're not going to kill your animal. In that case, you pay dummy by an Ebed, you pay dummy by a Ben Chay. Rabbi was talking about with no agent. The guy comes forward and says, my animal killed a person. Okay, pay dummy. My animal killed an Ebed. You don't pay dummy. Says you know what? Rabbi says Rabbi, you come to this big chiddush that are shoy without any kavanah, like they were witnesses. So you don't kill the shoy. You don't pay kaifer. You pay dummy. So that's the question. If so, Isha, you fire Shleba Kavana. If your fire kills Shleba Kavana, well, there's no kaifer by fire at all. You should pay dummy. According to Chiddush, whenever there's no kaifer, you pay dummy. So if your fire kills a person, you normally say fire kills a person, you don't have to pay dummy. According to you should pay dummy. Isha Shleba Kavana is unintentional. Obviously, if intentional, you're going to be. We had b'machlekin of you'd be tried for murder. If you hold Isha Mishum Chitzah as if you did it, or if you hold the minor, okay. I'll be aiding, but the witness is there, right? Nishalam dummy, you should pay dummy. You won't get killed, you should pay dummy. Just like by a cow. Who said you don't? Maybe tak you do. Now we learned before. There was a goat tied down. The Eved, someone was a slave standing next to him. But if you set a fire and they both got burned, so chayiv, you're chayiv. You're chayiv on the goat, but you potter for the Eved could have ran away, but the goat was tied down. So you're chayiv, and you're chayiv also for the silo, the haystack, yeah, whatever, yeah. Chayiv, okay. Eved cup was like, the Eved was tied down. The gdi samachloi, and with the goat next to it, and they got all burned. The din is potter, you are potter. And you potter for the Eved, you potter the gdi. Why you potter for the Eved? Because he says you only pay $30 class for the Eved. And when you do that, only when there's a Shod Hamud. And here you lit a fire. We're not talking about there's no Shod. When do you pay the $30 class? It says if your cow killed an Eved, you pay $30 class. No. Yeah, but yeah, here we're talking about your kiyatsa age. Yeah. Now, so the chaylev, you see, potter. So we see that's what he's asking. So why don't you pay according to you when there's no kafir? You pay money. Says the Gemara. There's no proof from that you don't pay. Maybe you do. You know why you potted it? Because of a different reason altogether. Come to Ravane. Or Amadesh Luckett hates his begufish level. It's talking about a case. It's not that you cause it. Your fire travel there and it's fire. And especially the shlok, you hold that fire is like your possession, so you definitely don't get killed for it. We're talking about over here that you went and you set the Eved on fire. So you're a murderer. You come to the Rabbinate. Over there, you're going to get killed for the Eved. So since come to the Rabbinate, that's why you're part. Nothing to do with, nothing, and you don't pay dummy. And nothing to do with our case here. When you don't pay kafir, how does Rabbi know? We don't pay kafir, you don't pay money. Maybe you do pay money for your fire. If your fire killed someone, traveled and killed someone. That's how we learned, maybe from the following place. There's chumrah by fire, you don't have a boy. A fire, no matter what it burns, you're responsible. Only things which are suitable that for it fall in. Why does it make another difference? Fire will pay for fire. Let's say unintentionally goes ahead and you had no intention for it to travel there and burn something down. You pay, even though you don't pay cave and all that, you still pay the money. Why does it say that difference? Because if this is Rabbi's question to the Shlach, you see clearly from me that you don't pay money for fire, and why not? You just said whenever there's no kafir, you have to pay for the damage itself. Dummy. Why don't you do it in the case of a fire? So that's no proof. Maybe you do pay and deal with ton of a shire. And does not give you every difference between a fire causing damage or a bird. Eli, you're right. Rav was having a question. He didn't resolve it. He was asking a question. What tak is it in if your fire traveled unintentionally and killed someone? Do you have to pay money or not? Do we say? By a cow, we see clearly the kavana. If you did it intentionally, you pay kafir. If you did it unintentionally, a cow unintentionally killed someone. We just said you pay dummy. As Rabbi just said, you don't pay money, you don't pay kafir, but you pay money. Aval Isha, but since the fire is different, because if you did intentionally kavanah, there's no kafir by a fire at all. So then maybe shleibe kavanah nam l'mishal damas. If you did it unintentionally, maybe you don't pay money. Fine. That's one way of looking at it. Even the gabish, don't compare loibe unintentionally to intentionally. Since the fact is by a shorish loibe unintentionally, I've got like a kafir, no kafir mishal damim. So maybe each fire also. I've got the kavana, like mishal kafir, or b'shalai kavana means mishal damim. You pay money. But yadin, I don't know which way to go. Take taking on further, however, Rabbi Yechon argues with Rabbi Kiyosh, Rabbi Yechon, kafir says that he could have said in the pasuk kafir. It could have said in the pasuk that one the animal killed, you pay kafir. It says im kafir. When you pay kafir, what's the im? Im is extra. The rabbis, he disagrees with Rabbi. He holds that kafir shalei bekavana ke kafir bekavana. He says, you know what it says im? If, as if there's only an if, as if, even though it's unintentional, it's coming to add something. You, Rabbi, said that if it's unintentional, you don't pay kafir, but you pay money. I say you pay kafir regardless of intentional or not. Rabbi said to him, Rabbi said to Abdimi, because he came to Babel and used to bring over reports from Amoraim and Etzro. Rabbi said to him, so Eved Nami. Following your logic, we should say the same thing by an Eved. It says in Pasuk, and by an Eved, if you im Eved, it says again im. So we should learn from there that an Eved, if it's unintentional, also you should pay the $30. Not like we learned before the Shlach, you said if it's unintentional, you don't pay the knas. According to you, an Eved without kavanah should also pay the $30 knas. You can tell me maybe Taka, who said you don't? But we just started the whole Gemara. Shlaki said, Shlaki said that if a shor unintentionally killed an Eved, you don't pay the 30 shkalim. But according to you with the im, why don't you? I understand. Gabra Karama. So you're asking Kasha because of the Shlakish. In fact, he also Rabin. We can't say have Radimi and Rabin coming to Babel. When Rabin came, he actually said name Rabbi Yechanan. Eved Matam Elim Im Eved. Could have just said Eved. Why say Im Eved? The rabbis Eved Shalei Bekavana Kavana. That Rabbi Yechanan holds that just like unintentional you pay kafir if you kill a person, so too if a shayk kills an Eved unintentionally you pay the $30. Not like the Shlakish. The Shlaki obviously ignores the im, the Eved, im Eved he ignores it. So L'chayda can conclude he would hold that he would agree with Rabba's din, because by kafir says im, that the Shlaki would agree with Rabba that the only time you pay kafir is if intentionally the shor killed the person, not if it's unintentional. He doesn't dash the im, and he would agree with Rabba that you pay only if it's intentional. No. Maybe Eved im Eved leidorish. Maybe the Shlakish only maintains his opinion when it comes to an Eved. I want if you kill an Eved unintentionally, you don't pay the $30. Or the Kafir im Kafir dorish. When it comes to the pasuk of Kafir, he will dash like Rabbi Yechon, his brother-in-law, the im, and say that you do pay Kafir regardless of his intentional, not if the animal kills a person after 3 times. Now, what's the difference? Why should be different? By Eved, you ignore the im, and by Kaifa, you learn from the im. What's the difference? Very simple. By Eved, it says im Eved. There it talks about the story. If a shor beats an Eved, gores an Eved. So the im is not written when it comes to talking about payment. It talks about im Eved. Okay, by the im is in the wrong place. I'm not going to dash the im, so it's only if it's intentional. Im Eved like kaifer, im kaifer by kaifer in that passage where it says there im kaifer usually all of it talks about the form of payment, and there we have the word im to tell you when it comes to payment, the kaifer. I don't care if it was intentional or non-intentional. A son or a daughter. If an animal gores a boy or a girl under bas mitzvah, and he kills them, you have to pay the full compensation. Ben yigach bas yigach l'chayiv teaches you that the gore animal kills a young child, you have to pay just like you kill an adult. Now I need a pasuk for that, and without the pasuk, what would you have thought? Isn't it common sense? If if a person kills a person, you chayiv, and the chayiv shoybad. If a cow kills a person, Yechayiv. So let's look at the case of a person killed a person. Makish chayiv does it make a difference? It says nefesh. It doesn't make a difference if the person kills an adult or kills a child. You're always liable for murder. The same thing is when a shayr causes damage to a person, like the chalag, like if the victim is an adult or a child, the same thing. That's number one. First of all, I have a kal v'chayim. Just like when it comes to the murderer, when it comes to the murderer, there's a leniency by a person killing a person. If the murderer is a child, we're not going to punish this child. Exactly, because he's on the bar mitzvah, on the bas mitzvah. Yes, but yet if they in turn killed a child, makes no difference. They're fully responsible. So shoy ba'adam, it makes you also a shoy 1 day old is already called a shoy. There's no such thing as a minor, an adult. So by a shoy we have a chumrah. That regardless of the age of the shoy killed someone, will kill 3 times, or even once, will kill the shoy. Surely, surely we should say that if the victim was a minor, the shoy still gets killed for it. Why do I need a pasuk ben yigach a bas yigach? So we're like, no. We said, no, I need a pasuk. You know why? There's a chumrah by people that when you hurt somebody, you have to pay 4 things. So therefore, we say, that it makes a difference who he killed. You don't pay the other 4 things. And because the shirt does not pay the other 4 things, maybe there's a leniency there. And if it kills a cotton, maybe you pot. All I know from here is the muad. I know that the animals are muad, you have to pay for a child. Ben yigach bas yigach is talking about a case of a muad. Okay, but the time I know an animal is a tam. If it kills a minor, a boy or a girl, you also chayiv for. Indeed, it makes sense. First of all, it makes sense. Since we find that if you kill a man or a woman, ben a bas, and you chayiv an adult, you chayiv for a child. Does it make it when an animal kills a person? Does it make a difference if the animal is doing it for the first time or for the 4th time? The animal always gets killed. Just like if the victim was an adult, it makes no difference if the animal is doing it for the first time or the 4th time. So even though the pasuk of ben yigach or bas yigach is talking about a case where the animal is doing it for the 4th time, is a muad, it makes no difference whether the tam or muad. That's number 1. Number 2, kavachayim. Also, I have a kavachayim. Ma ish v'isha, just like a ish v'isha. In fact, we have a Gemara Kedushin. Even though there's a svara, torach v'kosav lokra. The Torah Bala is writing it. Kavachayim is also a svara. It's just a different kind of a svara. What's a kavachayim? It's a logical thing. Here the kavachayim. Ma ish v'isha shekein hu dekaychem in a zik. By ish v'isha that we said that they're weak when it comes to the ziki, that if they cause damage, they have to pay. There's no difference. Ben and bas if a ben or a bas causes damage, do they have to pay for the damages? No. So ain't it is. So they're a cow. Surely should like the chalik ben metamud. Should make a difference in tamud. Weird kavachem. Will say. So you're saying that a child is much more lenient than an adult because a child causes damage you don't pay, and therefore we should be machmir by a child and say that a tam kills a child. You should be. The way it works is that if you take something strict and you're learning something lenient, the lenient has a certain chumrah. Surely the stricter should have the chumrah, but not the other way around. You're learning something lenient from something strict and saying, well, the chumrah has that stricter thing has a chumrah. We'll pass it on to the lenient thing. Where do you find such kaluchayim? And we see the parentheses. And another thing, you know why we need a pasuk? Because I would argue, an adult, when you kill an adult, you took away their opportunity to do mitzvahs. It's a great responsibility, and therefore it makes no difference. Ta'amud you pay. Tema ben Abbas. When it comes, however, to a ben Abbas, shatur mitzvahs. So maybe he's no big deal if you kill a young child. That's why you need a pasuk. Oy ben yigach, oy bas yigach. Kill a boy or a girl. Negicha betam, negicha mevu. It's a twice yigach yigach. Doesn't matter whether the animal was doing it for the first time or for the 4th time. Negicha lemisa, negicha zik. Doesn't matter whether you killed